Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk about this new fragrance. This is H24 or Hermès 24. This is a fragrance that I purchased finally. This has been on my list even since they launched it, and since I smelled it in Sephora. I knew I was going to get it because I loved the eau de toilette so much, and I even spoke about it last year. I filmed a video about H24 eau de toilette, and I found that it was a fragrance, again, very difficult to describe, very difficult to describe. And again, I am thinking about the lack of language, appropriate language to describe scent, to describe olfactory sensations that we have. So this happens whenever I smell a fragrance. I'm trying to think of how I am going to describe this to you. I love the EDT. It is amazing. It is a very good launch. We haven't had this interesting of a male marketed fragrance launch for quite some time, and I was surprised that Hermès were the ones to actually pull this off, and congrats to Christine Nagel. However, when I smelled the EDP, I instantly, because I was already familiar with the fragrance concept and how the fragrance was designed, I instantly recognized the things that I would love about this Eau de Parfum, and I had to buy it, so I got it, and I am very happy. I wore this many times. Don't know if you can tell, but I've worn it a few times, and it is stunning. It is just great. I am very happy to finally own this fragrance, because I don't. This is the first, well, truly the first recent Hermès that I purchased, that I own, because I don't own Eau d'Hermès, Terre d'Hermès. I do have Eau d'Hermès, but that's another thing. That's a very old fragrance. I don't have Terre d'Hermès. I only have that small miniature, and I don't think I will, well, never say never, but I don't think I'll ever have that. Not that I don't like it, but it's just way too common. Too common to my nose, or for my preference. So again, I will have to tell you the experience I had with the EDT, because they are more or less the same scent. I will get into the differences between them momentarily. So the EDT H24, the concept behind this, was very interesting to my nose, because when I first smelled this, I smelled, of course, the opening, and the opening for both of the fragrances is very common. It's a green scent. It's a green aromatic scent, and there wasn't much there for me to discover at first. I put it down quite rapidly, because I thought I was disappointed. I thought this was a very generic launch. I had no expectations, or at least very low expectations for a male marketed scent, and this is a problem that I had for many years. I find that male marketed scents that are launched, well, not necessarily nowadays, this is a trend that started quite some times ago, tens of years ago. They're mostly crowd pleasers, and there's not much else there. They're easy scents. Their only goal is to be sold, to be bought by people, and that's it. So I thought that this might be in the same category as the rest. But I did have the clarity of mind to at least try it on the skin. So I walked around town with my hand to my nose, and I was very happy to discover that this quickly turned from aromatic to an almost aquatic, almost marine scent, almost. But this was enough to pique my interest, to say, to get me thinking how this is possible, because the effect, the juxtaposition between green, aromatic, and aquatic can be quite nauseating at first, and it wasn't a very pleasant thing that I was smelling. And if you know me, that was enough to get me quite interested in the fragrance. And after some time had passed, again, I began to get a sense of a mineral scent. So now that it has, but a very undefined mineral scent, almost the same gunpowder scent that you might get in, that you do get in Terre d'Hermès. And this was very, very interesting to my nose. It's quite spicy now that I smell it, and this is new. This is a new experience, because I still don't know the fragrance all that well, although I did wear it for a few times. So you have the greenery, you have the aquatic, and you have the mineral aspects. The aquatic aspect kind of fades away, and it is taken over by the mineral aspect, and this was very interesting. And to the end, until the end of the fragrance, you can still sense this struggle between the green and the mineral. But later, and again, this is fantastic. This is a very interesting experience in terms of smell. And of course, this is very unique. Very, very unique. So again, congratulations to Christine Nagel. I cannot say this enough. I cannot say this enough. So after this, I spoke to Sebastian Furtado. Go check his channel. Wonderful reviews. Guerlain fan, just as myself. But he told me, he mentioned this captive molecule, which is sclarine or sclarine, however you want to pronounce that. Because I saw it written on Fragrantica on the notes, but I had no idea what this smelled like. And he told me that sclarine, it's the sclarine that comes with a very, well, it's not that difficult to describe now. So it's the smell, it's a metallic smell. It's the way a heated metal smells. And you might smell this the way Sclaren smells. Oh, that's a lot of smell. When you're ironing your laundry, right? So it's that vapor, that very warm, the hot steam that comes from the ironing board, that gives off this metallic vapor warmth. It's amazing. It is. So that opened my eyes. So the next time I tried on H24, I understood what that Sclaren was all about, I think. So now we come to the EDP. This has been quite a journey. The EDP, when I first smelled it, I got this crazy amount of this molecule, this Sclaren smell, this warm, hot metal vapor warmth sense, and I was just like that. I knew I had to get it. So the EDP is, of course, it's more rounded. The fragrance is fuller. It does sacrifice just a bit of its freshness from the EDT, but not that much. Just a bit. It's a bit more corporeal, right? It's a bit more present than the EDT. So that sacrifices just a bit of the freshness of the scent, but it is still a very energetic, fresh, tonic smell. Yeah, I can still very much wear it in intense heat, and it lasts quite well. It projects quite well. No problems there performance-wise at all. But what I love most about this fragrance is just the uniqueness of it. So now that I have this fragrance, whenever I go into my room, into my bedroom, right? Because the bedroom is where I iron my clothing. The bedroom is also where, now that it's very warm outside, it's very hot, I always have the drapes on, and the sun just, when it hits the material, it warms it up, and I can smell that. I can smell the heat now thanks to H24. I wasn't aware that heat had a smell, and now I associate it forever with H24, right? By the way, H24, for those of you who don't know, comes from Hermès. That was obvious. 24 Rue Faubourg Saint-Honoré, right? So that's the street where that's their address, right? All right. So yeah, it's a stunning scent, and I find, even though the opening is still, the EDP still has that generic green, I'd like to say almost masculine aromatic fougère, right? That I was looking for that word. It has that fougère that's kind of associated with masculine fragrances. Even though it still has that, I think the fragrance is perfectly unisex. Well, of course it is, but even much so, even more so. And I think you should give it a try. You should spend some time with this fragrance, try it on the skin, because you might like it, right? You might get it. You might enjoy it so much that you buy it. All right, so this was my review of Hermès H24. If you have any other questions regarding this fragrance, hit me up in the comments. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.